Hey everybody, Path of Exile here, and welcome to a new video. So I wanted to make this video for a lot of the new players that might be starting because the league just started, and going forward, any new players that might happen to come across this video, and the game's free. So you might see it on Steam. Maybe one of your buddies told you about it. You go to Path of Exile, their website, and you download it that way as well. You start playing the game, and you start just getting all this random currency, and it's a huge game. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of different currency. A lot of it does different things. Just wanted to briefly as possible, go over some of the different bubblegum currency, as we call it, and then some of the higher end currency, and just the different ways that you can utilize it to craft your own gear, to save yourself some money if you're playing in solo self-found. If you decide to do that as a newer player, Godspeed. Yeah, so we'll get right into it. All right, so the first thing you have is an Orb of Transmutation. So what this does, we'll use this Orb of Scouring here first. We'll get this down to a white item, right? So this is what you'll find in the beginning. You find a lot of white items. You might find some blue ones, but you'll find a lot of white items. So this has no mods on it, nothing on it, right? So you use this Orb of Transmutation. It upgrades a normal item, which is what the white one is, to a magic item. So it'll turn it blue. It'll give you one stat. Depends on what it is, but from there you can use an Orb of Alteration, and it will just change that one stat. If you're playing on a computer, if you right click on it and then you hold shift, you can just keep clicking, right? Every once in a while it'll give you two, sometimes it'll give you one. You have the option of getting a prefix and a suffix, just one of each, if the item is magic or blue. That's the gist of it right there. Spell suppression, that's actually a really good roll. A whole nother video on that one. So that's how alterations and transmutations work. So next we have Orb of Annulment. These are really in somewhat no particular order. We'll just kind of go through all of them. As you can see, these are all the bubblegum currencies right here. You have Orb of Annulment. So if you have one item, one mod on there that you want to get rid of, it says there removes a random modifier from an item. Items can have up to 6 mods on them. And when you get into the higher end crafting, this can be kind of a make or break thing where there's no real way to control it. Sometimes there is, depending on what you're trying to craft, but this will just straight up remove one of the mods on there. Now an Orb of Chance, it will upgrade a normal item to a random rarity. So if we get it back down to normal and we chance it, it can upgrade it to magic. It can upgrade it to rare, which is yellow, which we'll get into in a second. And then it can also upgrade it to unique if there is a unique version of that item. So if there's a unique slink glove, then there is a chance that it could upgrade it. So augmentation, right? So you have one mod on there. You have a one suffix. Augmentation will add another mod on there. So if you only have a suffix, it'll add a prefix. And if you only have a prefix, it'll add a suffix. This only works on magic items. It says it right there, augments a magic item. There's a very good reason for this. You want to alteration spam to get a specific thing, and then you can augment it. So you'll use a regal orb, which, as it says, upgrades a magic item to a rare item, and it'll add one mod to it. So now you have a rare item. From here, I know I skipped over this one, but we'll get to that in a second. You can use chaos orbs, and it completely re-rolls everything on it. And it can also give you all 6 mods. So you get 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. This is not the best way to craft gear early on. If you want to just try to throw a chaos orb at something, hope you get lucky. You can, but I would highly advise to save your chaos orbs. Exalted orbs will just add a new mod. These used to be the most expensive items in the game. They are not now. They're about 20 to 30 chaos, depending on if you're playing in standard or league and the time of the league. But if you right click on it and click on it, it will just randomly add added lightning damage to attacks. There are ways to control that with your crafting bench, but that's a little more advanced. Veiled Chaos Orb. So what this does is you right click on it and it will randomly pick something. You can go over here to June and you unveil it. So you have to do this in the story to unlock June, but basically you'll do the syndicate missions and then it will drop veiled items. You click on them, you take them to June, you unveil them, and it will unlock them. There's ways to make this beneficial and block the things, certain things, but that's the gist of what it is. And then you click this and it'll just add that to your item. Divine orbs, these are the most expensive, second most expensive, I guess, technically currency in the game right now, besides the Mirror of Calandra, which I don't have, never dropped one. They're super expensive. That will create an exact copy of an item and mirror it. People use that for super expensive gear. Divine Orb will re-roll the numeric values of all of the mods all at once, just randomly re-roll them. So it doesn't change anything, it just changes the numbers, which can be very beneficial for something like lightning resistance or any kind of resistances. So you can get up to 75%. Now Jeweler's Orb will change the number of sockets. So gloves can have 4. Now body armor can have 6. Weapons, obviously, you can see here, can have 6. You have one-handed, two-handed weapons, so on and so forth. Orb of Fusing reforges the links, so if you can get it up to 4 sockets, there you go. It'll just randomly, oh, I was pretty lucky. You generally don't get 4 links on the first one, but sometimes you can. It'll go from 2 to 3 to 2 to 3 to 4, or 6 linking it is a very, very hard process. Chromatic orbs, so these, as it says, reforges the color. So sometimes you don't want all 3 green, sometimes you want a red, sometimes you want 2 red, 2 blue. The colors are very dependent on what the base of the item is. So at the top there it says evasion, so that means you're going to have a better chance of having green sockets on there. You have hybrids, you have evasion energy shield, which is evasion's green, energy shield is blue, and then you have armor evasion, or you can get armor energy shield. You can also get armor evasion and energy shield, but armor has a better chance of hitting red. Ancient orbs. People do a lot of ancient orb gambles. They buy a bunch of them and they use them on belts to get the expensive belts like a mage blood or a headhunter. But basically all it does is it will randomly reforge a unique into another item of the same class. So I can click this and get a random belt. Just a random unique belt. You can use it on any type of gear that has a unique variant of it. An Orb of Binding will take a white item and upgrade it to rare and give it 4 links at the same time. So these ones are pretty useful early on. If you find one, it'll give easy way to get a 4 link. The Blacksmith's Whetstones will improve the quality of a weapon. So quality at the top there will go up, and the numeric value of whatever the quality effects will go up as well. As you can see, quality would increase physical damage, increases the armor and evasion, increases armor and evasion. That's why it's blue, because there's quality on it. This one has a mod that the quality doesn't increase physical damage, it increases attack speed. That's why that one's white, not blue. As you can see here, they're all blue because they have high quality. The armor scrap does the same thing for armor. You get here to get up to 20%. If you do it on a white item, it will only take 4 to get it up to 20%, because it does 5% at a time. If you do it on a magic item, it does it at 2% at a time. Then if you do it on a rare item, it's a 1-for-1. You can get it up to 30%. Some things I have, so I have this at 30%. You can, some things can get a little bit higher than that, but that's a whole nother video. As you see, I'm using Orbs of Scouring. That will take an item all the way back down to normal. It can also just remove certain mods depending on what you do in the crafting bench, but that's once again a whole nother video as well. Orbs of Alchemy, I kind of skipped over this one, but it will take a normal item, put it back up to rare. The Val Orb has a couple different uses. As far as crafting goes, it will corrupt the item. Once you do this, you can't modify it with any of this currency. There's additional currency that's been introduced in the game, and then it left, and then it came back now. It's called Tainted Currency, which we're not going to go over in this video. We'll vow this and see what happens. The possibilities, I wouldn't say they're endless, but there's a lot of different possibilities. It could technically turn it unique. It could add an Implicit, which would be above the dexterity there. As you can see here, increased stun and block recovery. So it could add something to that. It could turn some of the sockets white. So we'll see what happens. Right. So it corrupted it, it changed everything, and that's it. Blessed Orbs, so the Implicit up there, Implicit modifier, increased stun and block recovery. All this does is re-rolls those numbers. We try to get up to 25 if you were using this belt. There you go, I passed it. Let's see, gets up to 24. All right, so for essences, there's a lot of specific things that these do. You'll get them playing the game. They're pretty self-explanatory on what they do. They tell you what item and what it does. So for here, we got a pair of boots here now. So other armor, since nothing says boots, boots would fall under other armor. It says minions have 20% increased max life. So if you click it, it will give you that mod. Minions have 28% increased max life. That goes from 28 to 30. You'd have to use a divine orb if you wanted to get that up to 30. We'll go another one, chance to avoid elemental ailments. This one's pretty good. The other very beneficial one for this is the armor one, increased mana reservation efficiency. But as you can see here, it gives you a chance to avoid elemental ailments. Then you have these ones where they only give you 2 stats for a one-handed and two-handed weapon, and then the other one, anything else you use it on, will give you strength, dexterity, or intelligence. This will guarantee between 51 and 58 strength. And then the Zeal Essences is another pretty big one. It gives you attack speed or movement speed, totem placement speed. So this is a very good one to use as well. Movement speed is very important, especially early on. So if you happen to come across a Zeal Essence, throw it on your boots and, you know, go fast. As far as fossils go, this is another crafting. If you want to go into the delve mechanic, there's a content creator called Jorgen. That's Jorgen. He's a master delver, in my opinion. So if you want to know more about delve, check out his channel. But so you get resonators, and then you can get fossils. The fossils, there's a bunch of different ones, but I just grabbed these 2. So it'll give you more chaos modifiers, no lightning modifiers. This one gives you more defense, but no life. So if you were to shift, click a stack, if you have more than one, shift, and then click, you can separate them like that. And then you click, and then put it in there, and now you have a fossil. There's a 1 slot, 2 slot, 3 slot, and a 4 slot resonator. But same as everything else, you just right click on it, click it on there, it'll give you something. It can give you something with chaos. It says more, it doesn't say guaranteed. So if we do it twice, we should get something that says chaos. There you go. So chaos resistance. It's not guaranteed. If you do the 4 socketed ones, then you have a better chance of controlling what goes on there. Some more defense, so this should give us some sort of energy shield. There you go. Tier 1, tier 1. That's actually pretty good. Double tier 1 energy shield. Yeah, so that's more defense, but no life, so you can't get a life roll on there. Oh, well, that was it for the basic level crafting. I do have a lot of more advanced crafting videos on my channel, so if you'd like to see those or see any future videos, be sure to subscribe.